Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of Ben and Brady Build a Bus here on the Remote Ramblers channel. Today we are working on a project that we've been off and on working on for how long, Ben?
Jams.
Few months, way too long, but we've been making real headway. I have been gone every weekend of October and November, and so last weekend Ben did a lot of our indoor plumbing setup. So we are tweaking a few bits of that today and hoping to make the rest of the connections. Ben, how do you feel about it?
We'll see.
We will see. I've done a few bits of plumbing here and there, but this will be a first for both of us doing this whole tank system. So really quickly, I'll run you through what it looks like. So starting at the beginning, here is our inlet. There's a key here, goes off. That goes through the bus.
We are underneath our bed, and this is where all of the plumbing gear is. So we have our 65-gallon freshwater tank here. This is the inlet pipe, so we have the fill up there. Water comes in and fills the tank here. This is a drain hose that connects to this giant 1.5-inch ball valve down here. So if we ever need to empty all the water out of the tank, we just turn that knob, unfurl this hose, and we can dump the water out of the bus. Over here we have the inlet for the water that's going from this PEX all the way through the system and out to our kitchen sink and eventually our shower as well. This is the little filter, pre-filter before the water pump, and it catches any sort of debris, sediment, things that can mess up the pump. This is a 5.5 gallon per minute sea-flow pump. That is an accumulator, and the accumulator basically regulates the water pressure so that when you turn on your sink, it's not sputtering and spurting the whole time. It just maintains a pretty consistent stream of water. So we have all of this stuff. We have a couple of different valves to shut off water, different parts of the system should we ever need to repair anything. This is our Bosch electric hot water heater, so we are able to get hot water up at the sink. And then last but not least, we have a check valve right there. It's a shark bite check valve, and that prevents the water from going backwards. It is important to have it in certain key areas of your system. Here it prevents the water that's being pushed from the pump from flowing back and messing up the pump, so water can only go in that direction. Welcome to underneath of our sink. Over here we have our hot and cold PEX lines that are coming from the freshwater tank in the back down the side of the bus, and then it connects here and goes into our faucet. We have a very large double basin sink, so we have connected those here with some different fittings from Home Depot. It's just a standard connection point for this type of sink. And then instead of a traditional P-trap, we are using a HEP flow valve to control the smells and make sure that we don't have any smell coming back from the gray water tank into the bus. It has been working excellent so far. We have not noticed any odors whatsoever. Down over here, we have some ABS pipe that connects the HEP flow valve to the drain pipe that goes down into the gray tank. This is our 20-gallon gray water holding tank for our sink. So what we got going on is that is the pipe coming down from the sink basin, spray foam around the hole that we made to pass the pipe through. This is, I believe it's 1.25 inches. Yeah, 1.25 inches elbow fitting, 1.25 inches straight pipe, and then another 1.25 inches elbow into the tank itself. Up here we have our air hose just to provide a vent so that this tank doesn't blow up from all the water pressure when it's full. This is a 1/2-inch PEX ball valve so that we can drain the tank when it gets too full. And then to suspend it from the bus, what we have here is 3/4 inch all thread. We have some super strut pieces here, and then a series of washers and 3/4 inch nuts. And we have just basically suspended this tank from the rails that are attached to the bus. And yeah, that's how we did that.
All right, crew, so our tank is going. We have great water pressure, all is well, but now we need to fill our tanks up, and we didn't really want to move the bus, so I wanted to show you what we do so that way we don't have to move a bus. We are currently at a local state park, and we are gonna fill up our few like 5-gallon containers just as like easy drinking water. And then we have this massive bladder here. So this bladder is 65 gallons, which is the same as our tank in the bus. And what's handy about this is that whenever it's not full, it's flat and doesn't take up any space. And when it is full, it has the same amount of water as the bus. So it's incredible because we can just use the car to fill up as opposed to having to bring the bus all the way out and fill it up and then drive all the way back. So we're getting like the last bits of water out, and now we're going to refill it. It is sort of wild. We were just reflecting on all of this today, that we lived without running water in our bus for 2 years. And it was frustrating at times, you know, like things were definitely made harder. But it worked, you know. I think a lot of people get stuck in like the build and don't allow themselves to enjoy it because like, I have to get this done, I have to get this done, I have to get this done. And while that's true, like, yeah, our lives would have been easier with the running water. We made it work. And for some of that 2 years, we weren't traveling full time, you know, so maybe we were at a friend's house or something and we could get water there, or family. But we have been traveling for a while at this point and we have made it work. So if you are in the middle of your build and you're so frustrated because you feel like all you're doing is working on your bus and not getting to enjoy it, and you're like, but I can't go because I have to do these 15 million things. Like, maybe you don't, you know, maybe you don't have to do all 15 million things. Maybe you can enjoy what you have right now and where you are right now, and then come back to it once you've built in a bit of joy for yourself. So yeah, a bit of a ramble, but just wanted that to be a little bit of an encouragement for you if you're feeling frustrated with your build.
To connect to the water bladder in the car, we use this 3/4 inch by 3 inch long compression fitting. So it basically just has a little rubber grommet inside. And we use it to both fill that bladder and then fill from the bladder to the 65-gallon tank inside. Next, Julka sends these little 1/2 inch compression fittings, and they're really great for doing a quick connect to the hose like this. The hose will connect to the water pump here. This is a 12-volt power pump, and that connects to this 12-volt power supply. And then to power that, we have to have this little 12-volt to 110-volt power converter, and then that power converter plugs into our little power station here. All of that gives us power and pressure to pump from the bladder to the 65-gallon tank. We hope you enjoyed this video. It was a long time in the making. If you have any questions about how we built our system or suggestions for how we can improve it, or even just any sort of comments whatsoever, we would love to hear from you. Make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications turned on, because next week we are going to show you one of our favorite little towns, the Oregon coast, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.